We are making a Mr. Potato Head cookie that you can actually play with for Toy Story 4. My name is Lori and you are watching The Icing Artist. Now, normally you're not supposed to play with your food, but this food you are. I saw the trailer for Toy Story 4 and in it they're making toys out of things that aren't supposed to be toys. So I thought we would make a toy out of a cookie. To get it started, we're obviously gonna need some cookies. So for my sugar cookie dough, I have sugar, butter, an egg, vanilla, salt, baking powder, and flour. I just combine my sugar, butter, and vanilla into one bowl and then beat it up until it is light and fluffy. Basically, you're just beating it until it starts becoming really light in color and starts becoming really airy. I'm gonna add one egg in, and now I'm not gonna beat it very much. You just wanna beat it until it's lightly combined. In a separate bowl, I'm gonna combine my flour, salt, and baking powder, and I'm just gonna mix that up with a whisk. I always love mixing my dry ingredients, whether it's cake or cookies or whatever, with a whisk, because I find it combines them all really well. Then I'm just gonna add my dry ingredients into my wet ingredients in 3 different additions, mixing after each time. Once my dough is completely done, I'm just gonna pop that in my fridge for about an hour or 2 to chill, and once it is chill, I can roll it out on my surface with a little bit of flour so that way it doesn't stick. You don't wanna go flour happy here because you don't want your sugar cookies to dry out, but you also don't want them to stick to your surface or your rolling pin. If you have not subscribed to this channel, hit that subscribe button down below and join the Icing family. We're all friendly here. Now the first thing I'm gonna cut out is my giant Mr. Potato Head. I just got a template online and I'm going to cut that out. Now you're gonna need a big cookie because all of his little face details are also gonna be out of cookies, and those are gonna be small ones that we can layer right on top. Just gonna put my spatula underneath my cookie dough, and that helps pull it away from my cookie. And to lift this one up, because I was terrified of it breaking, I just used my cake lifter, carefully lifted that up and put that onto my baking pan. Now I'm just gonna stab Mr. Potato Head with a couple little holes so that way the steam can kind of escape from it when it's baking. It doesn't puff up in the middle. Now while that bakes, I'm gonna cut out all of his little details. Now you could get super creative with this and just cut out your own, but I wanted to play it safe, so I just searched the entire internet for every kind of template I could find. Coloring pages are your best friend when you're looking for templates, so I just cut those out and use those as my templates. But I am gonna get super creative with his hat. So for this one, I cut out one regular hat, but then I also cut out an extra hat cookie. From that hat cookie, I used the curve of Mr. Potato Head's head to cut out of the top, and you're gonna see why later. Now I baked all the same size cookies at the same time so that way they baked nice and evenly. So I was just alternating cookie sheets in and out of the oven. I made up 2 batches of royal icing, mixed all of my colors together, and now that my cookies are cool, we are ready to decorate. To start off, I'm going to outline the outside of my potato with a potato color inspired royal icing. Once it's outlined, I'm just going to fill in the entire center and use a toothpick to make it nice and smooth. I always flood my cookies with the same consistency icing. I think it's the easiest way to do it. And once it's completely flooded, I'm just going to give my cookie a little shake and tap carefully to not break your giant cookie until it's silky smooth. For his ears, I flooded that with a light pink icing, and once that icing was set, I then outlined the outside of it using the same color. For his hat, I thought green would be a really fun color, so I outlined all of the details. I freehanded this, really happy with the way it turned out, shockingly. And then once that icing was set, I just filled in all those little spaces with the same color. Now what I mean by set is that the icing is dry enough that you can fill in another color without it all blending together, and it's no longer tacky to the touch, it's kind of crusted. For his eyes, I wanted Mr. Potato Head to have a few different emotions, a few different looks. So for the first set, I'm gonna have his eyelids down so he's kind of looking like, really? You know, the like tired, attitude-y eye. Filled in the rest with white, but left enough room to add in black once those different layers had set. The other set of big eyes, I wanted to look shocked, like he's like, what are you doing? And for the small ones, I wanted to have this kind of like sideways glance. Now this potato is gonna need some accessories, so I thought the perfect one would be sunglasses. So I just outlined the outside of the sunglasses using a dark blue. I kind of double outlined it and then filled that in so it created the frame of the sunglasses. Once that was dry, I added 2 little dark blue nubs on the outside and then flooded the center of the cookie with a light blue. While that light blue was still wet, I just did a streak of white, so it's kind of like the sun glare on the sunglasses, and I love the look of this. Next, we're gonna do a stash and a mouth in the same cookie. Mr. Potato Head is always rocking a stash. So I'm gonna outline that with my black royal icing and then create the kind of stash texture and lines on it. Then outlined his mouth with a darker potato tone and filled that in with pink and red. And once the outline of the stash was set, I just filled that in with my black. After this, I realized all the colors just kind of blended together because I piped way too much with this and my little stash. So I decided to scrape the little one back and then do it in different sections. So instead of outlining it and filling it, I did alternating sections, let that dry, and then did the sections in between. I didn't want to scrape down the big one back because it was attached to the mouth. So this one I just piped right on top and no one will ever know, except you. You guys will know. But I know Mr. Potato takes his stash quite seriously, so I had to get it right. Then I just made some more details to play around with. Now that my potato is dry enough, below it I just outlined all of the shoe details. I made them pretty detailed, but I love the look of this, and with it all being one kind of level and one color, it really does look like little plastic shoes. His arms were a little bit more tricky. I had a hard time creating the same arch on both sides and make them not look really random and wacky inflatable wave man arms. And the hands and the fingers looked really funky as well. But once I outlined them, everything kind of came together. Lastly, for the hat, now that the top layer is dry, I'm just gonna add a bead of icing onto it and then layer that on top of the other hat cookie we made. This way the hat can slide right onto the potato head. I love this idea and I'm actually super excited and shocked that it worked out well. Now this is one emotional potato. So I'm gonna post all the different pictures of all the facial expressions over on my community tab, so make sure to click the link down below or head to my community tab on my channel, and I want you to caption these facial expressions because they're too funny not to. And that is it, and you can have a lot of fun mixing and matching and playing around with your potato head, creating all the different personalities and looks. I hope you guys love this video as much as I love it, as much as I love Toy Story, and I'm super excited for the movie. Of course, don't forget to come back here again next week so we can make something else into cake or cookies or whatever. If you guys want to see more videos, I will leave links, and I will see you guys again next time. Bye.